What's going on, guys? Designer Malcolm here, and welcome to this banger video. I'm going to try and bring a bunch of value today and help you guys out. The video is going to show you a very simple, clean design framework for app design when working with OpenClaw, ChatGPT, or any of these AI models. Now, it's important to know that the issue that I'm having is there's a lot of theatrics around here in the space that are selling a lot of you guys a false dream about, hey, I have a team of apps or a team of agents building me apps, and these app factories. And the reality of it is it's probably true to a degree that these apps or these agents are building these apps, but I can almost 100% guarantee you that most of these apps are just plain shit, plain garbage. And if you're going to remove yourself entirely from the app design process and not do proper research, take it through the proper framework, or even know how to properly massage the AI tool to get to that end result, you're just going to fail. You're going to fail. You're going to burn a lot of tokens. You're going to spend a lot of money on API costs and token costs. And so it's important to know that where you will see the people who are the leaders are ones who have domain knowledge and know how to properly prompt and properly use these tools in a way to get their desired result. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that AI is terrible at design. AI can't do anything and you should not use AI because that's silly. I use it every day. But you have to understand literally how to prompt these tools, how to work with them to get your desired results. And it's important if you don't take it seriously and if you can't sit still and watch this entire video all the way through, you're never going to make it. You're just going to probably hop from one business idea to the other business idea. Now, there's nothing wrong with wanting to build apps. There's nothing wrong with wanting to build applications. And quite frankly, these tools are very successful at that. I mean, if you think about what AI is, it's code, and AI is good at code, right? So it's just a natural progression, um, it's just a natural kind of complementary skill for AI to be really good at code. But the thing that you're going to have challenges is that AI is not really good at design. It takes someone who understands proper user flows, who understands the proper responsive design, and just has an eye of what looks good to really put something out there that's meaningful. The reality of it is if you create something out of the box, or not even out of the box, but if you create something that that you just prompt it to do, say for example, hey, create me a tracker app and make it look cool, it's going to look like everything else. You didn't do your research and you're just trying to make money quickly. You're going to see a lot of these people. It's a hype trend right now. They're building these app factories and they're submitting 14 apps a day. Don't follow that. Don't follow that path. I really want you guys to understand that that is not the way to go. And I'm not going to gatekeep anything. I'm not going to sell you a course. I'm going to build communities for you guys to join, but I'm not a course creator. I'm not a course seller. I'm not a YouTube guru. I'm here to just give you the sauce, give you the game, and give you the skills. Now, this specific agentic design framework is something that I just whipped up quickly, based off of my experience, as well as just an understanding I have when when working with these models. Now, whether you're using OpenClaw, Claude Code, GPT 5.4, it really doesn't matter. The differences are so minute. Now, there is one advantage that you get with OpenClaw, if you're willing to go through the steps of the complicated installations and whatnot. The beautiful thing with OpenClaw, and I believe Claude Code too, is you get this access to skills. And these skills are powerful. They allow your agent to have a certain persona, a certain memory, certain capabilities, but rather that can go and do things that are very specific to a very specific domain. Now, I've built apps without without agents per se. Now, it's quite different than working in Cursor or whatever, and it's spawning off agents in that regard. But if you, it doesn't matter where you're at. If you're using OpenClaw, Claude Code, or ChatGPT, the fundamentals are the same. Now, I'm gonna I'm presenting this to you as if you've never had any skills in design at all. And my goal with this video is to equip you with the proper thinking when it comes to agentic design. And in this case, we're going to use app design as sort of what we're trying to, or as our deliverable here. But the principles apply to web design, they apply to fashion design, apply to brand design. Um, and the nice thing is these tools, specifically OpenClaw, you don't have to build apps. Maybe you want to be a consultant. Maybe you want to go into graphic design. Maybe you want to do something else. These tools are more powerful than just building apps and building websites and SaaS. And quite frankly, those are competitive landscapes. But if you do the right research, stop following these clowns that are on YouTube selling you a dream and just learn the principles that I'm going to share with you today, you'll be far better off. So I'm off my box. I'm really here to help. I want to make sure you guys succeed. And if you find this valuable, follow me. Give me a follow. Give me a like. Share this video with other people. If you're new to OpenClaw or new to Claude Code, share this with people who you think can find value. So the first thing you want to do is with the agentic design process, and I've broken this down into 3 steps. So for step 1 is it's really important that you conduct idea research. Now, I'm not going to say you need to validate your idea in the market and find product market fit. These are all buzzwords. And the reality of it is that you can build stuff so fast that you can get it out there and test it and see if it gains traction. And if it does, you can always come and improve on it. But it's very important that you sit down and you think about what it is you're trying to build. We're not quite there yet where we can just tell agents, hey, go build me stuff, go do the research. And I mean, we are there, but it's a little silly because you're asking a language model that's been trained off of data that's old, right, to build something for humans, right, that it's not even a human itself. So it's a little disingenuous to see people out here building these apps and deploying them when they're really, and they're involving the AI in this early process where you can have assisted research with AI, and I think this is great to help validate what you're looking at, right? Maybe gain data into specific industries, gain insight about specific industries. To literally have the AI create the idea on its own, you're gonna be for the first thing is you're just gonna be building what everyone else is building. So I really want to help you, or I really want you to understand that this part is crucial. And there's many ways you can find great ideas. There's always a great idea. It's every AI ideas are like a-holes. Everyone has one, right? So the thing you want to think about is there's a few ways you can build an idea, or you can start with an idea solving a problem. I believe the best way to build software, build products, is solving a problem, and that's what I like to say design does, is it solves problems. So this could be there's many schools of thought here. This could be a problem in an industry that you're passionate about. This could be a personal problem. A lot of successful tools, for example, OpenClaw was a problem that Peter had himself, he just needed a truly agentic tool that can handle email, um, send text messages, follow ups, whatever. Another example is I believe the Cal AI guys. They built an app that pretty much you take a photo and it tells you your macros. So that solves a big problem. Sometimes you may go to a restaurant and you don't know what the macros are of that dish. You could take a photo. So you can start with a problem that's personal to you. You could start with a problem that's big in an industry or in some sort of vertical. It's a lot easier to start with a problem that's personal to you, but typically I say those they can either take off or they it's not substantiated simply because just because you have the problem doesn't mean everyone else has the problem. I usually say find an industry and find a boring industry, to be honest. If you want to make money, find a boring industry and build that. So let me share with you, I think a great resource for this is, and shout out to Mr. Eisenberg himself, Greg Eisenberg, Startups Idea Podcast. But if you're familiar with this, if you're familiar with this tool, I think this is a great tool to find um, ideas. Idea browser. This is a great idea. This is a great tool, and no one's really talking about this. So this tool, you can cook. You can cook with this. So you can come in here and find a bunch of ideas. It is a little bit on the expensive side if you're just starting out for their membership, but you don't need the full access to really start building because they do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. And if you're dangerous enough and you kind of have some skills, you could build a tool like this to scan for ideas that searches markets and gives you data and metrics. But I would say start here. This is a great place to find tons of ideas. Um, I am not associated with this tool at all. I don't have any sort of affiliate, but I found a few good ideas on here that I'm currently working on. Well, one really that I'm working on and fleshing out. And you could subscribe, and you'll get an idea a day. And really, that's all you need. This will give you, if you want to go a little bit deeper, you can come in and they give you like one-click builds and stuff. So this is cool. This is a great place to find ideas. Another place I would say to find ideas are Reddit. The tried and true. Reddit is a great place. Just sort of be a fly on the wall. And then additionally, Google Trends, or just being aware, paying attention. Another great way to find ideas is to step away from the computer and to just observe life and the world around you, right? So I would say that's a good place to start. Really spend a lot of time here. And honestly, I would say give yourself a day or 2 days to really develop your idea and do some really sound research. And maybe have 3 or 4 ideas, right? I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go to your friends and ask them about your idea and whether or not they would pay for an app. I think that's silly. Um, you want to talk to real customers. You want to talk to real people, real users who are not your friends, who are not your family. That's just going to give you a really good, realistic pulse on whether or not what you're building is worth their time or worth their money. The next step in step one is UI research. And this is where you can set yourself apart. And this is why every freaking app from the app studio guys, the guru guys out here, it all looks the same. It all looks like slop. Love that term, AI SLOP. It's so easy to not have your applications look like AI SLOP. It blows my mind. It's just people are lazy and want a one button click um, uh, option to just they want to print money, right? Um, None of the great tools you see today, you've used today, had phenomenal UI from the start. Like if you do some research, look at Twitter. Twitter was ass before it was what it is today. The advantage you have is you can create a pristine, polished product with top of the line UI from day one. But that's also a disadvantage because you're also are up against a lot of other people who can do the same. Now, the reality of it is most people aren't. Most people just want like one click solution, and that's it. And that's fine because most people aren't designers. But if you're rocking with me, if you're watching my content, whether you're a designer or not, I'm going to give you the fundamentals to really step up and at least have enough skills and enough knowledge to be deadly. So one way you want to do your UI research is quite simple. You want to look at the greats. You want to look at people who are already talented or already, um, building out good UI components. And I want to preface here that the goal of this is not to make you a better UI designer or to make you a great graphic designer. What I'm helping you do is build up your context war chest, because all of this is going to be context that you feed into your AI agent, your AI tool of choice. And most people skip all this. Like I said, they want to go and they just say, hey, build me an app. But as you build up all of this context, you're going to allow yourself to be far ahead than your peers. And it's really going to help the AI tool deliver on your dream or on your dream app or on your software tool. So a few ways to do this is, I mean, this alone is a game changer. If you get anything else from this video, go to Dribble. Go to Dribble. Dribble has some of the most amazing, amazing UI inspiration tools. And like, look, we could come here, we go to product design. Now, it's as simple as coming here. And the goal isn't to copy. And it is nice because AI typically you're not going to really be able to copy verbatim, but you want to be inspired. And some things you want to look at when you're searching through stuff like this is once you have your idea dialed in, you can actually, let's say we're making a fitness app, you can come up here and you can put in fitness app. And you're going to have all of this, like all of these examples. Some things you want to consider as you start to build up as you conduct UI research is you want to look at components, you want to look at layout, how are they laying out the data, or how are the components structured on the screen. So like let's click on this, for example. This is actually pretty cool. So notice here, and if you got some extra money, I mean, you could go in here and hire this girl, and I mean that'll save you some time. But we're all balling on a budget right now, so I just kind of want to give you some sauce. But what we're looking at here is we're looking at layout, we're looking at components, we're looking at the overall UI aesthetic here, paying attention to the colors that they're using, right? And look at this, like this particular calendar structure here, really cool, right? Within the calendar, it tracks the progress of what you accomplished that day. That's pretty cool. That could be a feature. If you see down here, it's got news and community, and it's got this sort of Instagram stories side scroll here. If you could see it, just the way it displays your calories, right? These are the little nuances that over time you get good at it, because what you're doing is you're building up your muscle, your design muscle, which ultimately will help establish your taste, right? And these are some of the aspects you want to look at, and some of the way you want to think as you start to build up your application. And let me give you some game right here. So ask questions like, hey, what type of icons are they using? What's the iconography they're using? What is their layout, right? What is the design layout that I'm seeing here? How are they displaying data in a unique way. How is the responsiveness, right? Some of these designs here, they have little clips and animations. You can see, how can we incorporate some of the responsive design, right? Some of the micro animations is another good term, right? That these terms you can use as an arsenal for as a tool for yourself when you go and interact and build applications with AI, because the AI is brilliant. Think of a brilliant idiot, right? It can do anything in terms of coding for the most part. It can do a lot, but it doesn't know where to go. And quite frankly, how could it if it's your idea? So, Dribble's a great resource, fantastic resource. And I believe in this day and age that we live in now, more important than ever, you really want to focus on brand and you really want to focus on design. That's what's going to set you apart. Anyone can build a fitness tracker app. I love this example, Cal AI. To me, it's a stupid idea, but it's stupidly good because they saw an opportunity and they just basically added a wrapper with literally it does what MyFitnessPal does. I have an app, but they made something just 1% different, and they had great marketing and they had great design and great UI. So it's nothing to not to take anything away from those guys over there, but it's stupidly good. It's one of those things you sit back and you ask yourself, why didn't I think of that? So really spend time here. And what you want to do is, as you find designs you like, just take a screenshot, right? Take a screenshot, make a note, and then start to compile these images. Now, as you compile these images, you want to put them all in a place where you can see everything. And I recommend just getting an account here on Miro. It's called Miro board. I use this a lot, and it's just an endless whiteboard. And the the nice thing with Miro is you can flesh out all your ideas and just kind of brain dump everything here. Look how it's massive, right? So you can have a little section over here for your photos or your UI research. You can even spin up a little document here and write out some of your ideas. Miro's great. If this isn't how you work, if you don't work visually like this, a simple Google Doc will do. I like to work on a Canvas style tool just because I like to see everything. You can draw. You can pretty much look at everything in parallel, right? And connect and make relations. So highly recommend Miro. I highly recommend this as if you're new to design and you have no clue where to start or how to begin. I highly recommend having some sort of visual workflow. It just makes, especially when you're dealing with design, it makes things easy to understand, and it allows you to see a lot of stuff at once. The other tool I just kind of want to highlight here before moving on to the next element within step one is another hack, and it's another hack to find good UI. Now this is a paid tool, and you can subscribe. It's pretty cheap actually for what it is, for what you get. But you can come in here and they've hidden it. It's called Envato Elements. And you want to go over here to more. So as you can see, they're really pushing for a lot of this AI video stuff. But this is actually a great place too to get good stock videos, stock images, audio, whatever you need. This is just a great marketplace for a reasonable price. But you could come in here, and what you want to do is you want to go down to UI UX toolkits. And these toolkits are things that you can have forever. But the trick is, I would highly recommend, if you want polished UI, pixel perfect UI, I would leverage Dribble for that, or Pinterest is even good. But Dribble's a lot less noisy. You don't have all the makeup ads. In Vato, you can find these UI kits, and in particular, I would say, and this could be a little bit more for the advanced person if you want to kind of take it there if you really want to take design serious. But you can download one of these UI UX wireframe kits, and how this would look is you'll get a screen and you'll get a bunch of gray boxes, and essentially it's kind of fun. It'll allow you to play with layout, so you can compare and contrast your notes. You can look at the research you did for UI components and certain screens, and you can come in here and get like one of these UX wireframe kits, and you can start playing around with it. And you can do all this for like 16 bucks, right? You can get a free Miro account. It's kind of like your home base where you gather all your ideas. And then I would recommend don't pay for Adobe or any of that. It's just this is if you're starting off, keep it lean. Get you a free Figma account, and you always, if you really want to take your app serious, and you don't want to just put out slop, because that's what we're up against. We're against the slop monsters. We're against these slop monsters, and if you want to go against the grain and do something a little different, get you a free Figma account and start to lay out your screens, and think of your app in terms of screens, not as like one big app that can do all of this stuff, because it's going to be overwhelming at first. But the goal here is because typically what you would do is you could either sketch this out, or you could use what's called these wireframes. It goes research. You once you have your idea, and then before you get to any kind of pixel perfect design, or you always start with wireframes. You always start with wireframes and user flow diagrams, and I'm going to explain what that is. And the problem what you see is what a lot of guys out here preaching these app factories and stuff is they skip all of this stuff. And why the problem is when you skip all of this, you end up actually spending a lot more in token cost, just because you've removed sort of the foundation of what it takes to build a really successful, beautiful UI. So you can start to play around with these layouts, build out your screens, and use that as, like we said, what are we doing? We're building up our context toolbox, because all of this context is gonna assist you with having a better output from your UI. And quite frankly, if you do all this context, you can at least you could probably one shot it, or maybe even two shot it, right? When a lot of these apps say one shot my idea into an app, but if you do all of this work ahead of time, then you can you can get 90% of the way there. Like I said, I was a designer, and I haven't opened up Figma in a year. I haven't opened up Figma or Adobe XD in a year. I just don't even touch it, because I can think good design and I can communicate design ideas. Now, may I be a little rusty inside of Figma? Like, I don't know where the freaking line tool is. Yeah, but who cares? Like, I can always go back in and tighten it up. But if you're trying to build an app and you're trying to get it to market, speed is your friend. But don't think of this step here of research and wireframes as slowing you down, because you're gonna have AI do the heavy lifting here. So let's go back to the Miro board. So just to recap, you're gonna do your idea research. You're gonna do, and I shared with you, Idea Browser. That's a great place. Maybe looking at the App Store, looking on Reddit threads, listening to YouTube, just stepping out off of the internet and seeing what's around you. You're going to do your, so that's your idea research. You're going to conduct your UI research. And to get your UI research, it's important that you have a place to compile all your ideas, which is all your context. So I would say A Miro board is great. There's other whiteboard tools out there. And just to be real with you guys, I'm not affiliated with any of these tools. This is just what I use on a daily basis. So I'm not here to sell you an affiliate link or whatever. I will push my own product, which is OpenEnterprise, but that's later at the end of the video. And then you want to also leverage some of the UI research tools that I showed you today. Dribble, I think it has 3Bs, Envato Elements, and Pinterest as well. All free tools. So the next step here is mood board. And I think I kind of hinted on that, mood board in preparation. So I won't spend too much time here. But a mood board is, and you can use the same Miro board as a mood board, but it's funny because a lot of people talk about vibe coding, right? They don't even define the vibes, right? How do you call yourself a vibe coder and you haven't even established the vibes, right? Perhaps it's just maybe you're in that flow and maybe that's the vibe. But what a mood board does is it actually helps you define the vibe. It helps you define the energy, the color story, the design, the aesthetic of your the vibe of your application. And so you can create the same mood board on here. And how you structure a mood board is quite simple. So I would say keep it between 5 to 6 images. And what you want to communicate in your mood board is you want to communicate a few things. You want to communicate your color story. What does that look like? What are your colors? What's your primary? What's your secondary? What's your tertiary? Right? You want to get that dialed in. What it also does is it helps you think about little nuances in your app or in your application. So one of the things that I like online that some people do well is like texture, right? Maybe there's like texture in your application, an element of graininess, or there's certain micro animations that are a part of that. So think of those nuances of your application that really make it unique. Then you can also pull from an image that doesn't relate to your app at all as a source of inspiration. So that would be cool. Maybe it's like an old cassette player, and that cassette player has elements about it that really kind of tie in to the goal that you want to achieve with your app. So use your Miro board as your place to gather your idea research, your UI research, and your mood board. And keep your mood board relatively tight, concise, and clean. And then next thing is preparation. So start to prepare and gather all your ideas. And I would say, after you've hit this, you've marked all of these, you could literally take all that stuff as it is into an LLM and say, hey, like prepare me for the next step here in the design process, in the app design process. And I'm going to go explain to you what that is here. So after you've done this, we're going to hop over here into step 2. And step 2 is quite simple. And to recap, like, I'm not here to tell you the exact formula to create an app. I'm giving you something better. We're going a step before that. There's many ways to create an app. There's many tools to create an app. What I'm trying to help you with here is how to think like a designer, how to think like a person who's going to architect a meaningful app that is beautiful, that holds, that you can sell, that makes the customers happy, that solves a problem. So I'm really trying to help you build that design thinking muscle. That way, whatever you build, you'll stand apart. And like I said, who are we up against? The AI SLOP monsters and the YouTube gurus. So if you just follow these 3 steps, you'll be way ahead of those guys. You don't need an app factory. You don't need OpenClaw running 24/7, building you 70 apps a day just to like pump out crap. Like, you don't need that at all. You need 1 or 2 sound ideas that you've vetted, that you've done proper research, that you've really developed out the core concept, the feature, and that actually solve a problem, and that you've dialed in your aesthetic. That we're focusing on quality over quantity here. So in step 2, what we're going to be talking about or looking into here is idea clarity. So perhaps in your idea research, you've had 3 or 4 ideas. Now this is the time where we're going to start to dial in the clarity of that idea. What does that mean? Well, idea clarity is like, okay, you want to fit that, but you really got to go a level 2 or 3 deeper than that. What is your fitness app going to do? What are the core features and functionalities? So for example, perfect example, mobile app, Cal AI, what is the clarity there? Well, the clarity is simple. I want to be able to take a photo of my food, and that photo, from that photo, I can pull out the macros, right? Proteins, the fats, and the carbs. Very clear idea. Very clear idea. Very focused idea. And it just kind of surrounds that, just helps it, right? That is some really clean, very clear idea. That's a very clear idea, app identity there, an app use case and purpose. Rather, that's a better word. It's a very clear purpose for what the app is to do. So you're gonna need to think this through, and you can have AI assist you here. You know, AI. We want to be AI assisted at this point. If you're kind of stuck, use it as a tool to help you. Right, help me think about some clarity here. How to hone in on some features that are precise, that make sense, that isn't too muddy, right? You don't want an app that does 3,000 things. So idea clarity is really important here in step 2. Then the next thing is your features. This is key because with features, your features ultimately in an app, features, what they do is they tie into the logic of the application. So if a feature is, if you have 3,000 features, you're going to have a lot of application logic to deal with. And it's important that you dial in your features. I like to say 3 to 5. 3 to 5 is good. It's a good basket. It's a good amount, good options. It's not overly complex. And then you just build. And the trick to adding new features is you let your customers kind of tell you what to build. And you don't listen to every customer, but what you're looking for here are signals. So what's a signal? Well, a signal is something, think of like a beacon or a lighthouse, right? Something that's consistently showing up, right? That's like directing your attention to it because it's just constantly showing. That's a signal. You want to look for those in your users, your user community. So perhaps if you're building this fitness app, your users are constantly telling you, "Hey, we need the ability to scan barcodes of our food," and it just shows up over and over and over. Those are signals, and then that'll drive your product roadmap. So really dial in your features, and you want to keep your features pretty simple at first, just because the nature of building applications is that features can create what's called a bloated app, and it's so easy to get caught up in adding so many features at once, and it can really impact the build quality of your application. So if you're able to just distill down to 3 features, 3 to 5, it makes it a lot easier for your AI tool, whether it be Claude Code or Codex or OpenCode or whatever. It just makes it easy to build things, right? Think about how a house is built. A house isn't built all at once, right? You start with the foundation. They lay down that concrete. Then you start with the framing, right? Then the walls go up, and then you start with like the insulation. So you want to approach the app this way. You're an architect, right? You are an app architect with killer design skills. That's what you are, and you're gonna keep crushing it. And you're gonna build better designs, better apps than half these people out here. If you just trust in me, I promise you. So really keep your features simple. keep your features clear. And the way you're able to do this is once you dial in your features, you're going to have what's called a user flow. Now, just stick with me here. These are very, very, very much so industry terms, but it's not a lot to understand. Once I show you what a user flow is, you'll get it. So a user flow is the steps that a user takes to use or to complete a specific feature or a specific action. A prime example of this is a sign up flow, right? What does that look like? Well, a user signs up, they add in their information, they authenticate themselves, then they log in, and then they get access to the dashboard. And I have an example of a user flow here that I created for another app that I'm building. Let's see if I can get it up here and show you what a user flow. Now, you don't have to create this, and actually you can have the AI make this for you. Another term for user flow, it's quite similar, but and make sure you write this down because this will help you. This is a lot of the AI tools. This is how they kind of diagram stuff, but it's called a mermaid diagram. Remember that term, mermaid diagram. Basically the same as a damn user flow. You could say user flow or mermaid diagram. That'll help you when you're working with AI because these user flows, and I'll show you what they look like. It's not complex. It's just mapping out the steps of, like for instance, this one right here. So I built this one out. If you follow my Vibe Coding live stream series, I kind of go over this, I think in like day 2 or 3. But it maps out the flow. And why is this useful? Well, this is useful because it helps you know what screens you're building. What are the screens that you're building, right? So this is the user. All of these little long rectangles are the screens. And so by having a diagram, maps out the application, each feature and functionality, and it lets you understand what screens need to be built. Now, before AI, this is how I made applications. Like I would map out each user flow, and it was quite arduous because now you look and you see, okay, I have 1, 2, 3, just in the user flow alone for the sign in, I have 3 screens that I need to develop. But AI models love this. This is their language, and so do designers. Oh, look, we have a forgot password screen. So I would have to design a forgot password screen. And then what else? Is there another screen down here? No. So here, we'll go down one of these paths just so you understand how it works. So this is how it looks. So a user comes to the home screen. So maybe they downloaded our app on the App Store. And then, why is this not showing? So I believe it says has an account has account, yes or no. Let me see. What is this? Yeah. Start build. Okay. So home screen, they sign in, they're on the sign in screen. I don't know why that says start build, but maybe they sign in and they don't have an account with us. So this would be, they have 2 paths essentially. They can either sign in or create an account. So this should say create an account. Create. Here you go. So the path. So if AI saw this, they're like, oh, okay, this is what the user flow looks like for signing in. All right, I need to create a home screen. I need to create a sign-in screen. I need to create an account screen. And this is it's a very simple exercise, and I recommend that all of you guys do it for 1 or 2 of your features because it'll help you understand your application and how it works from a user standpoint, right? Because Many times you'll one-shot an app and you'll forget to add the sign-in screen. Well, if you had mapped that sign-in user flow, then you wouldn't be missing the screen. Or there's been times where I try to one-shot it just because I'm lazy, and I get 90% of the way there, and I find out that, oh damn, my app, there's no create an account flow. So in your first couple apps, especially if it's as simple as 3 steps here, um, or 3 features, excuse me, 3 to 5 features, it's easy. So you want to map this out. Also, you can have AI assist you. Use terms like I mentioned, um, like I said, mermaid diagram or user flow. But you want to be clear on what it's user flowing, like what user flow is it building, right? Just don't say build me a user flow. Say something like, and I'll maybe come up with a book of prompts if I get enough likes here, and it'll be free. I'm not going to charge you guys for some freaking prompts or make you pay for my school community. I don't do that goofy shit. I'm not trying to like be a course guru and have you in my community and my school community. I'm just going to give you the game. One of my favorite designers of all time, he had a website called Free Game. His name's Virgil Abloh. Look it up. He was the designer for Louis Vuitton goals, right? Had a whole website called Free Game. So I think knowledge is power, and I don't think we should gatekeep knowledge. I'm not going to gatekeep. So use terms like user flows, and you want to tell the AI, hey, I need you to make user flow diagrams for the sign-in, for let's say the fitness app, right? For adding food and scanning food for the calorie tracker, for a user diagram for creating a new account or a mermaid diagram. So you want to use terminology like that. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have all your user flow diagrams, and you can use ChatGPT. You don't need Claude. You don't need OpenClaw for this. You can use these tools depending on whatever your workflow is. But I don't want you to feel like you need one or the other. Like, there's just so much hype, so you don't really need to focus on what tool. Just pick a tool and stop overthinking it and stop over optimizing it. Because while you're over optimizing, trying to figure out which Gemini is better, which Claude tool is better, your peers are running, like me, I'm running circles around you because I'm not thinking about that shit. So keep it moving. Just go through this framework, go through this workflow. After you get your user flows, next step here is wireframes. And we hinted on wireframes in step 1, and I kind of jumped the gun there. But you could save your wireframes. I was just telling you where to get the wireframes, but you're gonna save your wireframing to this part of the process here. And look, you can have AI wireframe it for you. Once you have your user flows and your features defined and your idea clarity defined, you would package all that up and then give that to your AI tool of choice and have them create wireframes. I personally like to create my own wireframes just because that's just what I have experience in. But if this stuff is all Chinese to you, it's all Hindu, you can have the AI build out your wireframes. Now the key to having successful wireframes from an AI tool is you don't want to dump all of this in at once. I would say start with the user flow and the feature and one feature and have it wireframe that, right? But you want to go in this order. You want to define your features, then you want to map out your user flows, right? Either the user flow diagram or mermaid diagram. And then you're going to take each one of those individually, feed it into your LLM tool of choice again, and have it create a wireframe screens for you. And there's a bunch of tools out there. I'm not really a tool expert. I keep my tools simple, but whatever you use, that's what you want to do. And this process, guys, works for those lovable tools, all the other like Replit. The thing with this is they've sold you a false dream too, because you go in and you try and one-shot an app, and it looks good, but it still looks the same. If you can come in with this, if you love using enjoy using Lovable, you can come in with this same framework and you can have Lovable creating you things far better than most people could. And then finally, we get to step 3 in this agentic design process, and that is here. And it's essentially working with AI, plans, prompt, and sequential, and iterate. So I'll go over these individually. So I'm gonna just give you some tips and tricks here. Copy the transcript, paste it into ChatGPT, and just get the get the meat and potatoes out of this. I don't have any document for you, so my apologies, but I'm gonna give you some tips here. So working with AI is very easy. The key thing with working with AI is having context. The more context you have, the better the output. So the more context you can give the AI, what is context? Well, context is everything we've been building up with in step 1 and step 2. That context treasure chest from our ideas, our mood board, from our user flows. You can package all that up, and I would say if you follow my framework, you can take all of that context you have, and I'm going to tell you how you can present it to your AI all at one go. We're not going to take all that context and say, hey, here's all of this stuff, build me my app. But what we're going to do is we're going to do something what's called, I call it sequential building. But when you're working with these tools, remember context is key. If the more details you can get, the better. If there's certain micro animations you want to dial that in. If there's certain UI aesthetics that you want, like Apple came up with the glass effect, right? Glass morphic effect. If that's something you really want, make sure that's a part of your context. Now, the key is once you have all your context, I'm a firm believer in having an AI agent make a plan first before building, right? Do you ever see builders start building without architectural plans? No, you have to architect the plans out. You have to set up the scaffolding, right? So you want to make sure that your first prompt is to build out a plan. And if I get 100 200 likes on this video, I will map all this out, have it all in a copy and paste for you. I'll work on that. It's all in my head right now. If it's something you guys want, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments, and I'll start to build that out. But you want a plan, and what a plan does is it helps the AI approach your build sequentially. What is sequentially? In order, in a sequence. And you want to speak to it in a way where you guide it and you say, hey, look, as you build this out, let's build it in sequence where each thing we build for this application builds on top of each other, right? It's it's in the proper sequence, right? We're not going to go and build out payments before we build out like sign in or sign on, right? We're not going to go build out, for example, change your password when you don't have a sign in screen or whatever, things like that. And you can have the AI think about this, but you want it to create a plan first. That's the key. Key takeaway here is plan. And once it has all the context, once it has the plan in place, then you can implement the plan and have it build. Just say build this. Here's the plan for my fitness tracker app. Now let's build it. Now, the first thing you get isn't always going to be that great, right? And you're always going to want to iterate. So that's key. So this will get you a good MVP. This will get you a good product that you can test with real users, with real people, get feedback, get insight, and you always iterate, right? You always iterate. And so that's something to keep in mind here, that as you build agentically, that is your advantage you'll have. Now, the cool thing is, if all of this stuff seems like a lot, well, too bad. Nah. The beautiful thing is I've built a tool called OpenEnterprise. And OpenEnterprise, we are built on top of the OpenClaw. We're built on top of OpenClaw. We forked it, but we've improved on it, and we've given it given it some superpowers. So OpenEnterprise is a place for you to launch your business so that it can run itself with agents. And we have skills, we have design skills, we have design frameworks that you can just download into your agents, and they can do all this for you, right? So for example, we'll call ourselves a design studio, right? You pick your HQ, give yourself a mission statement. Make beautiful things. And you pick your industry here. We have a bunch of industries. And what you're looking at here is you're setting up your OpenClaw with OpenEnterprise. And we're more than just an OpenClaw. We have a lot of unique proprietary frameworks to where our agents are, they're enhanced. So let's say we go with AI Studio or media and content. We'll go with that. And the cool part is you come here, you start to pick your things, and you can pick your CEO here. And this is fun, right? All of these CEOs, these are actual skills to help you grow your company. They can do lead gen, content distribution, task orchestration. Pick an archetype for it. So let's say growth, and then the CEO name. Let's just call him Mike, right? And this is your CEO to run your design business. And I'm not going to go too deep into that, but this is a way to bypass all those steps that we went through for the design and truly create an agentic business where you can actually have agents really delivering full-fledged applications. And to show you what it looks like on the inside here, once you're logged in, you have your dashboard, and your dashboard is where you can run your business. You can manage your AI agents. You can have your roadmap. And just to kind of show you guys some cool stuff here, your agents have full access of this. This is where you can manage your entire company, built on the power of OpenClaw. You can use any API keys you want. You can switch API keys. You can bring your own keys. You get I think 1 million tokens for the first tier, 15 for the second, and 25 for the third tier. So plenty of tokens. The token the token usage gets real pricey when you're building applications, and so I like to tell people, like, you don't just have to build an app studio. You can do consulting. You can do design work. You can do a lot of other things, right? That if building apps and web applications is your thing, yeah, you can use OpenEnterprise for that as well. And I'll show you our skills marketplace so you know what I'm talking about. But let's say you have a design team. You can come in here. And every open enterprise account comes with a CEO. That is how we believe when you start a company, you have your CEO. Like that is your leader that you're electing to run your business. And he will be by your side. You can talk to him with voice chat, and he has access to everything inside of this application. So he can create roadmaps. He has memory. Everyone has memory. But in our example, we were talking about design. So you could come in here. First, what you would do is you can come to your team/HR, and we actually add this little touch so you can see your agents live moving around, just to pay homage to my childhood, this like Pokemon kind of vibe. But if you come down here, as you see, you can hire an agent, and you have the ability to hire unlimited agents, whatever you need. Your CEO, you can tell him to hire agents, so you don't have to do it manually, and he'll just hire the teams that you need, the teammates he thinks you need to run your business successfully. And with each agent, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Matrix, but if you go back to our marketplace, let's say we need a designer, you can come over here to skills or personas. So skills are the actual almost like abilities that allow your agent to go and use certain tools, right? So maybe a content writing skill is using notes or whatever. Like these are actual skills, right? Personas are the ideology, the thinking, the brain, the character of your agent. So you can go ahead and give them let's see if we have design skills. Look at this. You can give him canvas designs, front end design. You can install that into an agent, and then they can do complete front end design. We have so many design skills, and we're growing these each day. So look at this UI designer. So this is an autonomous design loop. So literally everything I told you, you can give this to an agent, and you can even take this video transcript and give it to them as well, and say, hey, take these core principles and framework as well, add them to your skill set, and then you can give them a persona. As well, and let's find a design persona. If we have one up here, we should. I think product is what we call it. Yeah, product. So you have a chief product officer, product strategy, product analyst, product manager, all of these great skills and personas that you can add to your AI, and then they can work 24/7 for you. And so if you're interested in, maybe setting up your own OpenClaw is a bit intimidating, or perhaps working with Claude Code. And quite frankly, like I work with these tools every day, but the problem is they, for the layman, right? For the person who just wants to build a business, it's quite the large barrier to overcome, right? Getting comfortable in a terminal, getting comfortable using CLI, right? If I'm saying all this stuff and you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, it's a good example. So we've made OpenEnterprise for you, for the young kid, man, who just is, maybe you're 16 years old and you want to like create a startup. Like we're building this for you, because we believe the future of entrepreneurship is agentic. And we believe that we are moving closer and closer to a day where you don't have to be in the day-to-day, where human is removed from the loop, and you can just be the visionary and the ideas, and then you can have the agents deploy them and have them do the work. Right? There's still going to be elements of taste and vision that you need to have, and you should always be hands-on. Think of yourself, when you're working with OpenEnterprise, think of yourself as like the board member, right? So we built that for you. We've also built this for the established small business owner. Maybe you just want to integrate some agents into your business, right? So you can build a team. Maybe you need someone to handle email, run your ads, build a team for you. You can build it here in OpenEnterprise. We are for the entrepreneur, and that is our goal here. And just to kind of cherry on top, if you're just chilling and you want something cool in the background, we give you the OpenEnterprise view, so you can see, all the buildings in OpenEnterprise. And if you want to see where things are at, you click the eyeball here, and you can see where all your different rooms are. So, like I said, because I am in design, this was in my mind. And if you can think like a designer and you can take those principles I taught you today, you can create something like this. I always say, you want to stay curious, stay creative, and always ask questions, ask the right questions. And hopefully you found a lot of value in this video today. I will leave a link in the bottom or in the description to join the waitlist for this tool. It's not released to the public just yet. We're taking our time. So if you're interested in joining OpenEnterprise or using OpenEnterprise, sign up for the waitlist. And then I'm also going to leave a link to my research journal called Agentic Founder. And there you can kind of go and explore some of my ideas, my thoughts as I build out OpenEnterprise and work with these AI tools. Some great insight there. Feel free to follow me on X, Instagram, and good luck to you guys. Remember, fight the AI SLOP monsters and don't fall for those gurus. Always come back, set the bell notification. I'll bring some more value for you guys. Good luck to you. We are living in a beautiful time right now. Don't let anyone tell you other. Don't be scared of AI. Leverage AI to create amazing things for the world. So take care. Take care, you guys, and until next time.